Dr. Sandhya, any further insights around, as you've worked with corporates and to bring back women into the workforce, what are some tactics that really work? Because I think in the audience here, clearly intent is there, right? But how do you put it into action?
Great question. So the intent, as you say, Deepshika, is to have a gender-balanced workplace. It's to have creative, intelligent, hardworking, talented folks who are keen on making the organization successful. And it would be great if there were equal numbers of both genders and possibly a third gender as well these days who would contribute to the success of that organization. Now, what happens really? What happens in a woman's life? So she enters with all the dreams, the passion, the intent, wanting to do great. And, that's how she enters the workplace. That's why in India you have almost 45% of women who are at the entry level in the, as far as the gender ratios are concerned. But then what happens? As she goes, as she kind of moves ahead along the career trajectory as well as her own personal life, she comes to a point where it has to be an either or. And just going back for a minute to the question that you were asking, Anthony, in terms of, what happens and how is it that sometimes the women take lead in the careers and how is that actually done? I would say that that's a very small, secluded kind of group, more so dictated by the socio-economic strata that you're in and the kind of education that you're in when it becomes a family decision, saying that whose career is priority, which is what Pradeep just mentioned. But in most cases, especially if you're not able to afford the career enablers, and you're not able to actually take charge of your career and tell the home that I can do both, I can manage the home as well as handle a career, then what happens is the woman drops off. So a startling piece of statistic: almost 48% of all women under the age of 30 in India take a break in career at least once. So this means that not only is the consumption reduced, the economic independence of the woman is reduced, the GDP is reduced, and on the whole, everybody actually loses out when the woman steps off the career track. And in order to bring her back, what really is required? It requires several things. One is it requires for enabling organizations like what we do, the work that we do at Avatar, to identify the women who are really serious and intentional about coming back. Because out of the 1.5 million women who step off the career track, there is only about 60% who actually want to come back in. And how do you identify these women? So that's one question. There has to be a good identification mechanism. And then you need large-hearted, generous organizations. You need organizations that say that, I'm not going to make sure that the result of this particular activity or this project happens overnight. I am ready to place a risk, if required, on the fact that certain projects might be shelved or might take longer, but I believe that this has to take priority. It's exactly what happened in the case of Nayanthara when she said that the organization trusted her and believed her. And yesterday Ronnie Screwvala made a joke, a statement about the fact that work-life balance is some kind of a cliched thing that bored HR managers actually invent to jazz up their lives. But work-life balance is such a tough thing to crack for women. And I, in fact, even would like to say that it's not even work-life balance. You shouldn't even call it work-life balance. You should call it work-life integration. You should talk about which pieces of home and which pieces of work can actually blend together like that. Not like this, where one is in conflict to the other, but like this, where it dovetails together. So I think that thought itself, should actually bring about the change in the way the organizations look at bringing women back into the workplace.
Very interesting, Dr. Sandhya. Thank you.